Hello, so today we're going to take 2 Golf 10 London Paddington to Greenford, and it's at 9:42, so a sort of mid-morning one. Let's get started with dynamic weather on the 30th of August, and it's clear, unlike today, which it isn't. So let's get going. Okay, so it tells us here 2 Golf 10, driver network a turbo in the first half of its journey to Greenford from London to Paddington to West Ealing. Okay, so we've got the 166, and let's get going. Okay, so we're in Paddington at the moment. I've got the HUD turned on, but let's get the well, it hasn't even got us asking for the doors, is it? So there's headlights for day, and I believe the AWS is here. Okay, so we'll put it into forward. Oh, okay, cancel the AWS. I'm not putting the DSD on. I kind of find it annoying. So let's get going. It's not asked us to board any passengers, so let's get out of this place. So platforms 10, 11 and 12 and 14 are 25 miles an hour. Out of Paddington, platforms 1 to 4 are 30 miles an hour, and platforms 5 to 9 are 40 miles an hour. It's not the platform speeds, it's really the points as you come out. So we're on actually on platform 11, so we'll give it a bit more juice. The actual performance of the 165s and 166 is not all that really. You really have to get it into a high power notch setting as soon as you can, because it just won't pick up if you try and do it 1, 2, 3. Worth noting in real life is that the little red button there, when you start off, you press that in, that is the hill start button. If you don't hold that and you're on a slope, as you move it from brake setting 1 through to the power notch, it will release the brakes and you can end up rolling backwards, and nobody wants that. So we're up to 40 now, so I'll give it a bit more oomph. So this is obviously a lot different to it is now. So what you've got is Royal Oak sidings on the other side there, which is a little area which they pop trains in and out of when they're waiting to free up platforms. See, people complain about this train not being a bit sluggish. Well, that's because they are. These are all 1990s stock, so most of them are 30 or so years old. So we're on line 5. So we'll be going on the we should be going on the down relief line, certainly because we don't stop at Acton mainline. There's no way we can stop at Acton mainline on the down, I don't think. So we're coming up to 40. It's quite difficult to recognise where a lot of this stuff is, but there we go. So we're still on line 5, so I guess it's going to be staying on the relief lines. So now we're up to 50, so we're coming around Ladbroke Grove. We get up to 50. That's the bridge over the A40, I believe. The A40 bridge. And we're coming up to an 80 mile. There is the speed limits on this section of line are a bit strange. They go up and down. You get a short section of 80, then it goes to 85, then back down to 80. For the most part, most drivers just keep it at 80, and then you can't really go wrong. I think just on the left here is where the Hitachi depot is now. All the IETs, Class 800s, are maintained. That bit there, I'm not even sure that's still there, which crosses you over to Old Oak Common Depot, which is no longer in use. Some of the sidings we use for the TfL trains, but I think most of it now is part of HS2. Let's see, look outside. So you can see we're an 85-mile-an-hour limit now, but it shortly goes back down to 80 on the other side of Acton. As you go into Acton, I should say. So all this is now electrified. And this is the Old Oak Common Depot, which, well, there's some work there, but this is actually all HS2 now. It's just a huge building site. And so we're about a mile away now from Acton mainline, which, so all these routes are now no longer served by GWR. They're all Elizabeth line. There are no stopping services between we'll shut off here. No stopping services between Paddington and Slough anymore. Apart from the late night ones, sort of midnight and through the night till about 4 or 5 a.m. Otherwise, it's I'll give it a bit of breaks. Normally, driving a 165, 166, kind of just stop and brake step one because you're never really going that fast. I might have to use a bit more because I've overestimated the. His brakes are pretty rubbish on here. Don't do this in real life. Okay, we'll get rid of the emergency, get a chance to reset. So, yeah, if you notice, there's no platform on the down main. So you could, if you got onto the down main, you could not stop at Acton. And again, this is all changed now. It's all covered here. One thing, there should be there's banner repeaters just coming up as you come round, because there's a lot of short signal sections on this part of the track, so you can encounter signal changes in quite short distances, and it's a lot of it's 3-aspect signaling, which means it will go from a green to a yellow to a red, so you need to be on your toes if you get a change of aspects. So the banner repeaters are there to help you. Okay, we're on our way, so leaving on a green, and our next stop is going to be Ealing Broadway. Actually, it's quite a reasonable job of this particular attraction. They're not this clean inside, and quite often lots of bits of gaffer tape and stuff inside these, holding bits on. And there was a screen here, or the brackets for a screen, this bit here, but that's all gone now. Sorry, the bit hasn't gone, but the bracket's there, but there's no screen in there. I can't remember what it was for. Somebody did tell me. GSMR passive information system just here. Quite a basic one, but it works. The horn, which is a bit weird because when you do the horn, I don't know if it does it on here. Yes, correct. It goes from side to side, whereas most horns, the controls sort of up and down movement. That's a left to right, which is a little bit odd. Come here, TPWS panel up here. So this is the older TPW. I think it's a Mark II, I think. No, Mark III. Train stop override button you press if you need to get across a TPWS grid when the signal is red and you're being authorised to pass signal at danger. You press that in and it gives you 20 seconds or so to get past that signal, otherwise it will trip out and apply the brakes and you'll come to a grinding halt and then have to explain the signaller that you've made a bit of a cock up, and there'll be a moment a minute or two whilst the TPWS resets, which is always going to be embarrassing. So we're coming into Ealing Broadway now. This is actually very similar to what it's like as more. It's been developed quite a bit over the years in terms of covers and things like that, but the building, that big building there, is still there. This bit's, I think it's actually not too bad. Oh, by the way. But there's more covered areas now and stuff like that. It's quite a busy station actually, because it doesn't cover just GWR. So there's Elizabeth line goes there, and there's an underground service. I think it's the Central line, I think, that goes there. No, actually, we're on time-ish. Let's stop car marker there. Okay, so we've got this is 3-state banner repeater. So these give us an indication of the next signal ahead. Of the state it is where the signal can't be viewed very easily. So that's a green signal there. We've got ahead, which is good. If it were a white background, so the diagonal line with a white background, that would tell us that the next signal is actually going to be restricted. So it's going to be a yellow, double yellow, or yellow, depending on what the signaling sequence is. And obviously, if it was a horizontal black with a white behind it, then that means the that the signal is red ahead. So here we go. So our next is West Ealing, which is just around the corner, and it's where the branch line off to Greenford goes. So you have a signal at the end of West Ealing station that will take you, and a route indicator will take you down the branch line towards Greenford, and you've got the intermediate stations of Drayton Green, Castlebar Park, and South Greenford before you actually get to into Greenford, and then turn back and come back up, and you'll go into the normally. I mean, I think during these days they did run between Paddington and Greenford, but now they just run between Greenford and West Ealing, and shuttle service. apart from the first one of the day, which goes from Paddington all the way down to Greenford, and then the last one of the day where it comes from Greenford all the way back to Paddington. But they're the only ones now that travel between Paddington. Right, so we're coming into West Ealing now. There's also West Ealing EMU sidings there, so we can see now that banner repeated means the signal at the end of the platform is off. Sorry, it is on, not off. Obviously, it's been heavily redeveloped since Elizabeth Line has been put in, because there's a lot of new signage. Okay, so unlock the doors. So if we look down there, you can see a signal with a route indicator on it. It's actually much closer than that. It's about here and goes all the way across. And it goes down to, so there's a bay platform here, and that's where, on this bit here, and that's where the Greenford branch runs to and from. And so there's some sidings where we store 387s and turbos if needed. I think there's 2 roads with probably 4 8-car sets, and there's also Placer, who do some maintenance on track maintenance trains. They have their little depot there, and there's a crossing to allow them to get in and out of it, called Placer's Crossing. Okay, we're locking the doors, and I think that should be it for this journey. How did we do? Okay, I've got gold. We're pretty much on time as well, which should be given the short distance and no other trains on the network. Anyway, thank you for watching this little video. I hope it's been informative, and come back again soon. Thank you.